they get there. All right, welcome to all. You have joined me, Betsy Muller, for a free introduction to a course or a group series that I've been teaching, it seems like forever. And I was trying to look up how many times I have led groups on this subject matter. And I think it's been, more than 20 times. And I take great pride in that. So today we're going to be talking about the creative process of merging emotional freedom techniques with a classic piece of creative work called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Some of you may or may not have heard of that. So I'll give you a little background on who Julia Cameron is and what she is all about, why we at EFT tap into this, and my own story about how I developed this study using EFT with The Artist's Way. We'll also talk about what you guys should expect, being if you would choose to do the 7-week series with me, and by no means are you obligated. You may want to do it all on your own, but I'll talk with you about why doing it on your own might be hazardous. Okay. But it's really up to you. We might do a little tapping on just the blocks that we already know we have, and we'll talk about EFT in general. And then I'll go over some of the basic tenets of Artist's Way with EFT, how this works, how our groups work. And I'll give you a special offer because tonight at midnight, prices go up. I have some early bird prices in place that will go away at midnight. And I will also give you another code before the end of this, and that code will allow the first 3 people in either the live group or the patio group to save an additional $20 off that lowest price. So that's a reason to stick around, pick up the code, use the code, and hopefully you'll be one of the first 20 to do it. And then we'll have some time for Q&A, hopefully today. And you guys know how to get in touch with me. If I don't answer your question, I'm happy to answer questions by text or email after this, since that's how you found me anyway. Okay, so let's begin. Let's get grounded and balanced and centered, because it'll help you listen better. So one of the things I know for sure, this little point under the eye, sit nice and tall in your chair and just tap this point for a minute with your feet flat on the ground, sitting nice and straight and tall. Just do that. So call yourself home. You might have things going on around you. Call it in. So that's a point to remember if you just need to get in here for a minute. Another activity that I like to get myself balanced is pulling across the shoulders to the opposite hip. This is crossing your right-left energies so that your brain might work a little bit better after doing this. All right, let's all take a stretch. And stretch can mean whatever it needs to mean for you. Where do you need to stretch today? So yeah, being creative can involve some physical creativity too, moving, taking care of yourself, and being present to what's going on inside of you so that you can solve whatever problems inside or outside of you. Being creative is really about being practical, I think. And that's how I've used this material so often in my life, to stay young, have fun, and get more done. That's my little tagline for my first book. So who doesn't want that, right? You want to get nothing done. You want to get old terribly. And you want to have no fun at all. If that's what you're here for, you better just not be with me. So I make sure to have fun. That's an important thing. Another thing I want to mention is safety. So this material in The Artist's Way stirs up all sorts of doubts and feelings of not good enough and awareness of things from your childhood. How do I know that? The first time I read the book by myself, I did it by myself because everybody said you should read this book. I'm reading the book, I'm doing the exercises, I'm doing the journaling, and I'm feeling worse and worse about who I am. And that's not, I think the book is to provoke, to help you look at, examine some reasons that you're blocked at times, the reasons that you're scared about things. But frankly, when you're by yourself reading this stuff, and also if you don't have EFT, you don't have a process for clearing things and healing yourself, you can go down a deep, dark hole, maybe not even get past the first couple chapters because you'll be like, I'm so flawed. So the gift I recognized the first time I read the book was, this feels awful. And then bing, I have tapping. I could tap to this. So I would tap as I read each chapter, as I did my morning pages. I would just like call out what I noticed. And like, phew, then I felt better. And then I started using the good parts of the principles, the activities that she suggested to expand that creativity. And it started to flow. So that's what I hope for you. That's really why I bring this course back over and over again. The other thing about this course is every time you do it, life is different, the world is different, the seasons are different, and you've evolved in some way. So even if you've been with me before, like Roseanne here, I think has been in this Artist Way group with me many times over again. I think Karen's done this before, maybe. I think you have. There might be others of you that have done it with other people. It's always different because you're not the same and the world's not the same. I love teaching this at different times of year. So summer actually is so much fun because I don't know, I just like how nature inspires a lot of what happens for me using Artist Way in the summer. And it often expresses itself with cooking, believe it or not, that I suddenly become aware I can do because of all the produce, the beautiful fruits and vegetables and farmers markets and the places I take myself on my artist dates or my soul dates, which we'll talk about in a minute. So that's a whole different experience than the groups I've led in January, for example. So January here is golden dark, and those people are usually making resolutions about their health or things they want to stop doing or big goals they have for the new year. And we're trying to just get through winter too, which is a dismal, dark time. So doing Artist Way that time of the year is wonderful because it keeps you lifted, it keeps you connected to other people, and it helps you actually accomplish some of those goals you set at the new year. So that there's never a bad time to do this. There's always a good time. And so I just want to encourage that with all of you. All right. So I do have a PowerPoint. Let's see if I can do I don't want to put you to sleep though. Who doesn't like PowerPoint? I can just do it this way if you want. Well, might be a little more interesting if I show the PowerPoint. Let's see. There's my PowerPoint. I might go in and out of the PowerPoint. All right. So Awaken Creativity 2023. That's what this is. I don't know what's going on with my slide. All right. So what we're going to cover today, the process that I use. We'll cover tapping, care, and support for creators, because that's what you are. You probably want to know, what is the commitment? If I get involved in this, what's Betsy going to expect from me and from my classmates? I'll tell you about that. And finally, some special offers and discount codes to sweeten the deal. All right. So hopefully you have a paper and pencil or pen with you right now. I want to encourage you to be creative right now, to think a little bit. So the question is, if you had 1 extra hour each week, how would you use it? What would you do with that extra hour? So suddenly something gets canceled and nobody else is after you for something. So what would you do? Just think about that. So what if you had 5 extra hours each week? Let's stretch that a little bit. What would you do with that? And maybe another question to ask yourself that I didn't write down here is, how do I waste an hour or more a week that I'd want to stop doing? Because sometimes it's stopping something that's a waste, or it's not productive, it's not creative, and if there's something that's definitely not joyful in your life that takes more than an hour a week, maybe it's time to think about that too. Time is the resource that all of us have. It's an equalizer. We all have the same amount of time, but things can get in the way. Even our health makes it harder to do something in an hour than it used to be. So I hope you'll examine that. Okay, let's talk about Julia Cameron and the Artist's Way. For those new to this, Julia Cameron was a very successful writer. And in 1978, she realized she was alcoholic and she stopped drinking. And that created a cascade of worries for her, because she wasn't sure whether she could still write as someone in recovery, because that alcohol kind of kept her going. And she was in New York City. She felt kind of alone in all this, but I think she was in a 12-step program. And so part of what she decided to do was, help herself and other artists get back on their feet after creative injury. And so she started holding these groups with people from all walks of life, and she developed kind of a curriculum to help release blocks and support one another and connect to art as an act of faith. That's what she talks about. And, the subtitle of this book is A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. So when she talks about spirit or God, she uses the word God, but she refers to God as good, orderly direction of flow. Maybe you're familiar with something like flow, something we've referred to as flow states. When you're so relaxed and so engaged in something, things just go. I mean, time works to support you. You feel comfortable, joyful. And really what Julia's going for is to create more of those moments in our lives so that we are expanding to attract what we need, the resources. We're expanding to attract other creators, opportunities, money, introductions, beautiful experiences, health, whatever we really want. When those blocks fall away, that we can get into that flow, that stream where ideas and inspiration just comes, and problems, the answers to those problems come to us. Being stuck in a problem isn't fun. So that's what she was thinking about. And she really teaches that creativity is our true nature, and that, when we get the blocks out of the way, these magical things can happen. She refers to it as synchronicity. And I can tell you for a fact that it emerges going through this process. Suddenly there are some magical coincidences. Is it real? Is it not? I don't know. I think it's truth. Okay. I've seen it happen many times. So that's a little bit about the book. It's sold millions and millions of copies, 22 languages or more, all over the world. So you're not the only ones that know about the Artist's Way now. All right. So in my work with this and with others, and actually in coaching and emotional freedom techniques, there are two keys I really believe are part of this process that you need to know. They're awareness. So you got to be aware that you have a block. And boy, Julia Cameron's book is very good at making you aware of some things that are blocking you. And then the second thing is acceptance. And that's even upgraded to loving and accepting yourself with the awareness that comes up. And, connecting with it so that you can move it and heal it. So that's kind of what happens in the artist way, as we discover through these questions what's going on. So why add EFT and the use of a group to exploring these creative blocks? Well, I think the benefits, at least from my personal perspective, what I've seen over the years is people waste less time suffering. Instead of suffering, they're creating or attracting or having a good time, having fun instead of suffering. So it's about using your time well. You can neutralize a wide variety of stresses too. And, if you know anything about EFT, I'll go through a list of some of the things EFT can do, but it makes you feel better physically, emotionally, memories, relationships, money, and also upgrades old beliefs and behaviors and patterns. So if you want to clean up your diet, if you want to stop using sugar, actually, this program of awakening creativity, you can focus on that. You could focus on your weight and your diet. You could focus on your sleep habits. You could focus on a particular relationship you're having trouble with, and it'll work. It'll work whatever you choose. It will also support you as a group. One of the things that happens if you choose to read this book by yourself and go it alone, even if you know EFT already, you may feel alone. And what we find time and time again doing this in group is that people realize they are having common experiences. What they thought was only them is very human. And we address them and clear them together. So it's kind of fun. And there's no shaming, no blaming. We are supporting each other because we realize we have a lot in common. Okay, so I mentioned EFT before. I love EFT. It's not the only way to heal, but it works pretty well. And there's hundreds of studies that show that the tapping, when we add that in, can be used for weight loss, clearing phobias, clearing anxiety, physical pain, sports performance, public speaking, PTSD, test anxiety, and general anxiety. And there's probably more than that, but that's what I made the list for to get us started. So it applies to a lot of human performance variables. And if you want to take care of yourself better and age well, EFT is a great little tool. So nurturing creativity, as I said before, we want to create safety, supportive friends. I want to encourage you to know about new ways of self-care. And we'll talk about these things to the extent they're relevant to you. We won't talk about it if you don't care about it, but I like serving a group and serving what the group needs. So I guarantee we'll address something that you're considering and concerned about. Journaling is part of this. Julia calls it artist pages or morning pages. And Julia asks us to write 3 pages every morning and not to judge it a whole lot. Just get your pen and paper out and write. And it can be a little tiny paper if 3 pages sounds like too much, and it can be a big old paper if you really love writing. And it can be about anything. So we go over that week 1. But I call it vomiting on the page. You get it out. You can write about what you're complaining about. You can put your to-do list on. You can write about intentions. That was one of the things I wrote about this morning in my morning pages. If you see, you can't even see it here, but I wrote a list of intentions for this call because setting my intentions in advance helps it happen. So you can write about anything you want. You can write your food diary. You can write about how you slept, how your body feels, and what's really bothering you. Anything goes. Another part of this program to nurture your creativity is committing to take yourself on a date with you as an artist. So Julia calls them artist date. I call them soul dates. So you go someplace or you do something that normally you don't give yourself time for. So remember I asked you about that hour every week that you might want to take for yourself? Well, that's pretty much what this is about. So maybe you go to a farmer's market, or maybe you go to a craft show. Maybe you go to a concert, or you go check out a garden that you've never been to, or a park you've never been to. That's what counts. Sometimes I make a special recipe and I'm just in the kitchen by myself, conjuring up good things. Or there's some sort of craft project that might be good for my house. Sewing comes up for me. Sometimes I have a sewing machine I don't use often enough, and I love that's an artist day. You get the fabric, you sew something, and then you enjoy it. And if it doesn't go that well, you start over again the next week. So it's making time for yourself something special. Okay. So maybe it's time to stop the share and talk about doing some EFT. And I need to drink water. I encourage everybody to be hydrated before we tap anyway. So please drink with me. Have a drink. So maybe before we do tapping, it's good to see everybody. So I know you put some things in the chat. Some of the people that aren't here, just so you know what other people put down that they wanted to work on in terms of creativity, because this might inspire you. So Robin said she wants to use it to help her with a new home. So say if you're moving, you got to furnish, you got to pick out paint, you got to, figure out how to arrange your furniture, whatever. That's a great ambition. Jody wants to do some art and writing and work on her home. Let's see, other people who aren't here. I don't know, I'm trying to see, is Lori here? Lori wants it to have more clients and more money. Yes, this works for that too. Let's see, Janet wants more joy. Georgia wants new ideas and balance for her free time. That sounds very interesting. Sandra wants a peaceful life. Good ambition there, Georgia. Let's see, Nancy wants dreams of doing what she loves without a thought. She wants to do what she loves without a thought, or without a negative thought, right? The freedom to do what your heart says to do without fear too. That's a good reason. So that gives you some sense of somebody said she wants it for healing. Well, yeah, you can use it for healing, especially if something's not going right. Having supportive friends and going through this process will raise your awareness and actually bring some healing on. All right. So are there any questions out there? So let's see, show of hands. How many of you have tapped with me or somebody else before? Okay, so everybody's tapped before. Yay! And those who watch the recordings, if you haven't done it before, it's okay. So I think one of the things I like to do tapping on early on, I just mentioned the journaling, 3 pages of journaling a day. I want to assure you that I never check your journals. I never read your journals. It's kind of on the honor system. But if you're not journaling, you're cheating yourself out of how the program works and what Julia Cameron knew worked for all the students she worked with before she wrote the book. The book came later. She started doing this with groups, and I think it was another 10 years or so before she wrote the book. So, so on a scale of 0 to 10, how much resistance to journaling do you feel? And I have to admit, I stopped journaling for a while these last few months because I've been really busy. And so I come back to it without the habit firmly in place too. So I'm right along there with you guys, because there's always something else going on in the morning. But you can give yourself permission to do it, not necessarily in the morning. I'll mention why morning's important a little bit later, but morning is better in my experience. Okay. All right. So 0 to 10. And 10 is like, I can't even imagine doing a sentence in the morning. 0 would be, I'm already journaling, right? So wherever you're at, just take your number. All right. And then I'm going to lead you in a little tapping around that. And tapping, we admit our problem. We say it with this setup statement, and then we admit it some more while we're tapping. and we see if it shifts a little bit. Okay. Oh, Anne, you're a 10. Oh my goodness. And what if you'd be willing to share with us what's the greatest resistance? Is it just because you've never done it, or what is it?
I got in trouble for writing down my feelings one time when I was a kid.
Ooh.
Yeah. And my mother found it
Uh-huh.
and I got in big trouble. And really ever since then, I have just had a big resistance to journaling or anybody finding anything that I write, anything like that.
Okay.
And I've been through so many classes and seminars and all this, and it's like you need a journal, and I understand it could be really good, but there's this piece of me is like, I don't want anybody to see this. I don't want.
Well, I give you permission to write in secret code, okay? And you can write with all pictures. Sometimes people do coloring and they just draw. I mean, there's a lot of ways this can work. So let's see if we can open that up for you, Anne, and everybody else. All right. Even though I have this resistance to journaling, I deeply and completely accept myself. And I remember it's safe to write things down for me. Even though I have this fear of journaling, and I suspect I'll fail before I even give it a fair shot. That's just the way it is. And I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway. And maybe it's safe to try a little bit of writing every morning, just for me. Even though I worry about a journaling commitment when I've never done it since childhood, I deeply and completely accept myself and all my thoughts and fears. And I engage in creative writing just for me, a little bit every day, just for me. And it's safe to do this just for me. And nobody else has to see it or even wants to see it because it's mine and only mine. And Betsy won't even check either. Okay, top of the head. I worry that I won't be able to do that part. Eyebrow boys, journaling is hard for me. I feel exposed when I write it down. It takes too much time and makes me upset to see my thoughts on paper. And what if somebody reads it, misinterprets it, blames me for something? I don't want to have that happen again or ever. I don't like writing. Writing is so boring and horrible. I don't even have a good pen. My pens don't work. Somebody takes my pens. I'm not even sure what I'm going to be writing in. Maybe I'll lose what I write. Might fall into the wrong hands. My writing sucks. It's so bad, I don't even like reading it while I'm writing it. How could I possibly do this day after day for 7 weeks? That's ridiculous. It's unreasonable. Who is this Julia Cameron lady and who does she think she is? Okay, and shake that out a little bit. All right. So I get silly sometimes because sometimes our fears, after you do a little tapping around them, they do feel a little silly. So, but I'm not sure I said anything related to where you're at, but just check in now. Check in that 0 to 10 resistance. Are you feeling a little bit more inclined to try? Sometimes it gets stirred up more. That's what I'm wondering if it stirred you up, because I don't know what's going through everybody's head. You're all welcome to speak up. Anybody else want to speak up? So the journaling to me is freeing. It helps get the filth out of my head early in the day. So why morning? I should address that for you too. Morning. A lot of writers write in the morning. A lot of professional writers, if you follow any. And I remember Wayne Dyer. Do you guys know Wayne Dyer? Very successful writer, speaker, author. He has passed away, but I got to see him live a couple times, and even in a very small group. I was in a writers group, and he came in, and he said he got up at like 5 a.m. every day. He lived in Hawaii and had a nice desk overlooking the outside, and he would write. And he said, really, first thing in the morning is the best because you're less critical. When you wake up first thing in the morning, you're apt to write it down without crossing it out. You just let it flow out of you. Your critical mind is still waking up. Some other things I've read in the past about creativity is it gets shut down when you start doubting yourself and fearing yourself. So if that fear part is a little more subdued in the morning, that's how you get more truth onto the paper. Somewhere I read at some point in time, if you wanted to be more creative too, that sometimes having a drink, which helps you, takes the fear down. So people were more creative when they'd had one drink, which is interesting because Julia was trying to get people away from the alcohol. I don't support drinking alcohol to boost your creativity, but if you are all keyed up and self-critical, calming down, which is what we're doing with EFT, can make you more creative. But in any event, consider morning, because that's what Julia found was helpful to her. All right. So checking in with you now. I'm curious about Anne. Are you still a 10, or did that help?
No, it really did help, because a lot of what she says, something from that far in my past should not be stopping me from going forward.
Yeah. And we can tap affirmations. I train my official practitioners not to get too much into affirmations, but one of the things we can do now is we can do a back and forth between the fear and an affirmation. Sometimes that's an effective way to tap. So let's do another round just on that side of the hand. Even though I'm still feeling some of this resistance, I love and accept myself anyway. And I'm opening to my creative potential by writing a little bit every day. Even though this is a new habit and I'm feeling some resistance to it, I deeply and completely accept myself. And I invite the words to flow out of me and onto the paper in an easy way each morning. Even though I'm doubting that I can be successful with daily morning pages, I choose to try anyway. I love and accept myself. And I don't have to be perfect to be creative. And it's safe for me to try this. And it's healthy for me to write things down. And it's good for everybody if I participate in the creative process with the rest of the people in my group. Top of the head. I still don't want to do it. I'm already too busy. What if I just made 30 seconds of writing time each morning and see what I can write in 30 seconds? Well, that sounds useless and boring. What could I possibly write down in 30 seconds? She said 3 pages. I can use tiny pages. Nobody's checking. I'll just write. See what happens. I have so much to do. How can I possibly get a pen and paper out every morning? I can barely get my coffee. I'm going to get a really nice pen and a really nice journal, and it's going to be my treasure. Nobody's going to steal that pen because I'm going to guard it with my life. Collarbone points. I still don't want to do it. It's just one more thing, and I am busy. Maybe I have time for 30 seconds or 3 minutes. Maybe it'll get so fun, I'll just keep going. Maybe I'll write even more than 3 pages. You know, some people do that once they get started. All right, so that's how we, we ended that. So you see how I jumped from negative to positive, ending on a positive. So that's a way you can use your tapping too. You can have a little conversation with yourself, because there's usually the angel on one side, the devil on the other side, and then. So you just, and actually think about it. You could write this out. You could write out all your thinking and then tap to it. And there you have a valuable exercise. All right. So how y'all doing now? A little better? I hope so. Okay. So I think I went through kind of the expectations. So, you know, people who do this program, the 7-week program, if you should choose to enroll, you know, we expect you to follow along, but also to be honest, if it's really hard for you, a certain part of it, like morning pages, will help you some more. And other people in the class will maybe share some tips of what they do to make it easier. So you're probably also wondering, do I have to buy the book? Do I have to read the book? Well, that would be a good thing to do. I just checked today on Amazon, and Amazon has a really good deal. You can get something called the starter kit, Artist Way starter kit. It's $22. It includes the book, and it also includes the Artist Way journal. So the book is like this size, and then the Artist Way journal, like, let's have it out somewhere. It's big. It's like this big thing. If you write 3 pages in that, holy cow, that's like, like 1 page is like 3 pages, but you'll have a journal for a really long time. So whatever and it has a lot of quotes and other good stuff in it. So I really love the starter kit. If you just get the paperback, it's $16, I think. So that's why I think the starter kit's a better deal, because you get 2 resources. Yes, Karen has the journal there. I see. Very good. Yeah. So it makes a great gift too. So if you know somebody who's graduating, or somebody who's starting a new job, or anybody that could use, I've gifted it to my kids. I've gifted it to friends who were embarking on new things, and it's a great little gift. And if they can get in a group, that's even better. Okay. And you can borrow it from the library. Most libraries have it. Just don't write in your book. And it's available on Kindle. There's an audio version too. So there's many ways you can do the program. What I'll be doing is sending you an email each week before class, suggesting what parts of the book we will be including in the discussion. I usually integrate some chakra and energy philosophy into the discussion, as well as tapping. And we see what comes up in the group. So every time I go through this with a group, it's different, because it depends on the participants in the group and what they're trying to accomplish. So we get exposed to a lot of different kinds of creativity just through the group. And that's part of the fun. You will be inspired to do things and to try things that you never even thought of, because someone else did it and said it was fun. Okay. So that's why you need creative playmates. That's what Julia was really about. You know, you use this to grow in big ways and to support other people and encourage other people. And you'll get some encouragement as well by being part in the group. I talked about the soul care dates before. We go into that some more, and the book talks about taking yourself on a date. So that's there. And then I give you other resources and ideas and encouragement. So basically you get You get the emails before we're together. We might do a text group if we want to text each other, or if we're all on Facebook, we might make a Facebook group. I guess we just have to wait and see how people like to connect based on who enrolls. So I like to use tech to keep us going. So Janine just asked a question. So if you sign up for one group and end up having a meeting one of the weeks, can you go to the other group? Yes. The Zoom group, which is going to be Thursdays at noon, I will always record it. I will encourage you to email or share stuff with me if you're not able to be with the Zoom group or the live group, so that I can bring it back to the group, or maybe we'll have a text group created so we can talk to each other during the week and encourage each other. I've used Facebook groups for that in the past. Some people aren't comfortable with that anymore. So I'll find a way. Maybe we have an email chain, but that's how we'll keep up. If you choose to be in my live group, which meets on my patio here in Strongsville, Ohio on Tuesday evenings, the bonus of that group is you're actually enrolled in both groups. You'll be enrolled in the Zoom group also, and you will get recordings from the Zoom group and be able to attend the Zoom group as a makeup. So I only have one Zoom group and one live group. So you'll have to pick one or the other, but you get kind of a double experience by choosing the live patio group. So that's how I sweeten the patio experience. The patio experience is longer. I make it an hour and a half. And we do a few more physical things in that group because we're together. And plus you get to meet my therapy dogs and sit on my patio and smell my flowers and see my herb garden and listen to my fountain. It's lovely as long as the neighbors aren't mowing their grass or God forbid if a squirrel or a deer comes through, then my dogs go nuts, but we'll work with that. All right. So Janine, I hope I answered your question on that. So if you're on vacation a week or so, that won't matter. You'll still get the goodness of the program. Okay. All right. Let's see. I have more for you in the I want to get back to my presentation for you. See what I missed here. All right. Okay. So we did a little tapping. Okay, talked about the commitment. So I think first and foremost, though, I want to assure everybody that every group I ever lead, one of the things I'm known for is keeping people safe. There's no shaming. There is support. And if anybody gets worked up, we calm it down pretty easily. Co-regulating the nervous system is truly what goes on when we're together in group. So I encourage everyone to be regulated. And if they're not, I just boost my little power so that you guys can all be more relaxed. And it works pretty well. I trust myself to lead groups now. I wasn't always as confident as I am now, but I really like what happens in group, and it amplifies. I guess the other thing I didn't say is I think there's an amplification of the positive when people come together in group, tap together in group, and do things together in group. The magic seems to be multiplied. That synchronicity seems to be multiplied, and the goodness that ends up happening is just darn amazing. So that's what I count on. All right, so we have your choice. If you want to register for either of the groups, you go to betsymuller.com/events, and you can find what you're looking for. So the Tuesday group is in person in Strongsville, or you can do Thursday noon group. And the early bird rates end tonight at midnight. And if you want to use Venmo to pay me, I will accept Venmo, and you can write down my Venmo ID or send me an email with your Venmo ID, and I can send you an invoice that way. Right now, there is a surcharge on PayPal for registering. So if you use a credit card on PayPal, I think they are surcharging you now on my site. Or you can mail a check, but I need to know if you're doing that, just so we're together on that. Okay. Oh, I had where's my special offer slide? Oh, here we go. All right. So the regular price for the Zoom group right now is $339, but you can get it as low as $109 right now if you use the code creator23. All right. And it's written right there. And the first 3 of you that use that code for either, so there's 6 codes, there's 3 for the live patio group and 3 for the Zoom group. You'll get an extra $20 off the price. And your price depends whether you're an Indigo Connection member or a past participant or just at the regular price. So pick the right one that you qualify for. There's also a special offer for becoming an Indigo Connection member, which saves you on all of the things I do, including EFT trainings and monthly events and things like that. So take a look at that if it works for you. Otherwise, your Creator 23 will work for either class. Okay. So I guess it's time to ask me anything. Do you have questions? Other questions? I'm wondering, I don't want to put somebody on the spot, but I see Roseanne is here and she has participated in this before. Would you be willing to say a few words about what you've noticed when you engage in the artist way with a group?
One of the things that it's helped me with before is to get back to writing the 3 pages every day. I commit to it, and once I commit to it, I do it, even though it can be a struggle. And even if I don't do 3 pages, I find myself putting more on a page or 2 pages than I normally would have. But it also helped me to move forward with my memoir last time. And I got away from it and it kind of got stagnated. And so I know that this is going to push me forward to finally complete it. I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The other thing that it helps me do is, and one thing that's always been a struggle for me is the artist date or the soul dates. So I'm looking this time. That's going to be my focus. To finally make that happen.
I will help you and I will be accountable to that, Roseanne. And I know that was, and Roseanne has a husband that's not doing so well. And so she has some challenges. I know Karen has a similar kind of challenge at home, but you can still succeed at this. And the synchronicities that happen and the support will get you through. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Lalisa. Not Aubrey.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't figure out how to change that this morning.
Yeah.
I actually can't figure out how to register on your website.
Okay.
I don't understand. I went to the link that's there and it's not showing me the right thing.
Okay, I'll send you so there's an information page and then there's a link to the registration page. So you got my email before, so I'll send you the
Yes.
direct link to the registration page. If you're still having trouble, I can put the stuff in. And then you can call me with a credit card or a Venmo ID number, and we can get it done that way too.
Thanks.
Yeah. So other questions? So I hope some of you are pondering this as a possibility for yourselves, a gift for yourself. And I'm happy to speak one-on-one with anybody who's wondering, is this really worth it? But think about it, it's between $15 and $20 a week for 7 weeks. If you were coaching with me full-time or, once a week, you would be spending more than $100 a week. And I would say you'll get more out of this if you put a little time in than you would ever with a one-on-one coaching with me, believe it or not. I think you do. Plus you get the benefit of lots of smart people, not just me helping you out through this. And I go through the process too. So I am struggling at times just as much as you are. I just got a new website up, which was a big pain in the ass. And I suppose that was creative, but it felt horrible. I should have been doing Artist Way with that. But my first book, I wrote that. I had an ambition of writing a book, and I was so blocked because I hate writing. That's why I majored in chemistry in college. I didn't like writing, and boy, they made me write a paper about that. But now I'm comfortable with writing. I'm more comfortable with speaking. I'm more comfortable with doing things that are a little bit scary because I've been able to do these things, and so I can help you too, especially with books. That's a good area. I got past that one. Karen, did you have a question? I think I saw your hand come up.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about, is the Venmo link, is that on the website or?
No. So if you need to send me on Venmo, send me an email with your Venmo ID, and then I'll friend you and I can send you an invoice that way. Okay.
Oh, okay, because I don't have Venmo. I would have to get it.
Venmo, I really like it for my business and for personal, so I can link it with both personal and business, and it lets me pay people very easily, whether it's a girlfriend that I'm reimbursing for dinner or splitting an Uber or something. It works pretty well.
That's, I forgot what I was going to ask you, senior moment here. You have to sign up for, does it go through the bank or no?
What you mean Venmo? It goes through your bank. Yeah, it goes through your bank account. Yeah.
Betsy, can I think I have you. Can I send it through Venmo? For some reason, when I'm on your site, the Creator 23 is not working.
It's not working. Okay, I better double check it. So yeah, go ahead. If you want to do that, then I'll get you signed in.
Okay.
Just make sure I know which one you're choosing to sign up for.
Okay, so I could just send you, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Betsy,
Yes.
I was a little confused on the pricing because I thought the $339 was the in-person one, but you said that's the regular price for the Zoom one?
That's the full price. So right now, so if you're interested in the Zoom one right now, there is I think it's $129 for members, $139 for past participants, and $169. Was it $169 for membership and the class? I think. Let me see. I can probably go check that real quick. I have it up on my screen. I'm sorry, oh no, I can't get into that. All right. I mean, it lists all the prices that are available now, but everything goes up tonight at midnight.
Okay.
So
You say plus membership, which membership? Indigo?
would be an Indigo membership, which is normally $50 a year. So I think it adds it on. It might give you a small discount off of annual membership.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right. Yes. Is that Jody? That's Jody, right? And you're muted. So take yourself off of mute. There you go.
Okay. Is Venmo an app?
Venmo.com is a website. They probably have an app too. I use it on my computer. So
Okay. Right. I'm trying to sign up.
yeah, this is your first exercise in creativity. Right?
Exactly.
Getting Venmo signed up. I used to use it, then other EFT practitioners were telling me how useful it was, but it doesn't integrate into my my events system yet. So but it's very good. Any other questions?
I think it's an app.
Hmm?
No. Oops, never mind.
Okay. So I will end today. I'm going to share with you. I have a blessing for you. Let's see if I can get my blessing for creators up. So now I got to move everything so I can see the blessing. Okay. I love to have blessings. I write them for every event I do now. So may you count your blessings as you celebrate the dawn of each new day. May you know that your divine creator is near, whispering softly to your heart. May you send love to all creatures as you demonstrate that love for yourself. May subtle nudges open your heart to exquisite peace. You are supported and safe within this powerful connection. Awaken to your true calling and become a joyful creator. Amen to that. All right, so thank you so much for being with me. I think I'm ending on time. So I will stick around for a couple minutes if anybody else has lingering questions. And then I think Roseanne and I have a phone call after this. She's left, so I'll have to call her now. Are y'all good? I'll turn the recording off. Let's see, where is the recording now?
Thank you. Bye-bye.